In a galaxy far, far away, Kirko Cousins goes to Atlanta to give them new hope. Let's talk about it.
Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty After Dark. We're your hosts, Calvin Timms and Dale Terry. And this is going to be one of the best conversations we've had in a long time. I have not been this happy about a player signing in years. But Kirk Cousins goes to Atlanta, signs a 4-year deal, $180 million, $100 guaranteed. And oh my goodness, to the moon, baby, to the moon. Before we get into it, though, make sure you follow us on Twitter at TDC_Calvin, at Dynasty_Dale, and at FF After Dark for the podcast. Podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Apple, anywhere the podcasts are really found. If you can, please like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things. Just trying to grow the podcast, and we can't do that without your help. So help us out. We appreciate you guys so much. Now, that said, let's get into Kirk Cousins and the amazing news that he goes over to the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of people aren't super happy about this from the Atlanta side. But, I mean, guys, this team has been, this division is wide open. They could have had it.
Yeah, it's a pretty garbage division, and not a lot has changed except Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, this team is a good team. And I was talking to one of my coworkers today about it, and just saying, like, we were saying he didn't think that the Falcons were that good a team. And I said that the Falcons' talent is insane. The coaching has been terrible, and quarterback play has also been mediocre the last couple of years, right? Garbage. They have, on paper, competent coaches coming in that should be pretty good. And you've got Kirk Cousins, who we know is a solid quarterback. They are going to win the NFC South. They are going to win it. So take those bets now if you can. If they're still open on DraftKings, FanDuel, wherever, they will win the NFC South. I am predicting that now. So how are we feeling about Kirk Cousins going over here, man?
Hey, I'm actually feeling really good. Personally, I think it was a good move. There are a lot more Kohl's shopping centers or shopping areas for him to go to.
Yep.
In the Atlanta area compared to the Minneapolis area, there's about 10 or 11 more he and his family can shop at. So business will be booming for Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
It's before we move on. Like it's the amount of guaranteed money this man has made.
It is crazy, dude.
Absurd. It
is crazy.
I think I saw something by Warren Sharp that said it's over $350 million guaranteed in his career or something.
He's got 230 guaranteed so far from when he first got franchise tagged with the Redskins at the time, Commanders now. He got franchise tagged by them twice, signed fully guaranteed contract twice with the Minnesota Vikings for 6 years, essentially. One was an extension, one was the initial contract for 3. And so he's had basically 8 years of fully guaranteed contracts for $230 million, I believe. And then he's got another $100 million guaranteed from this one. And if he plays it out, it'll be around $400 million. So crazy amount of money that Kirk Cousins has made and deserved, man. Honestly, he's deserved. He's not okay, and we got to frame this around. He doesn't.
I'll start. He is good on Sunday at 1 a.m.
1 p.m.
That's all. That's all he's been good for.
Yeah.
His entire career is Sunday 1 a.m. He's mint.
Right.
He
doesn't play the best. He doesn't play the best. He has changed that the last couple of years. He's played a lot better in primetime games last couple of years.
Yeah.
But you look at his career, ever since he became a starter in Washington, he's never had a season under 4,000 yards, except for one. True. His second year in Minnesota, 3,600. Sorry, I apologize. And then this last year. But this last year, he was on pace for around 5,000 yards yet again. He's been consistently closer to 5,000 than 4,000, throughout his career. The dude is just really good. He's not going to have a crazy number of touchdowns, but, I don't think there's going to be much different for Kirk Cousins in Atlanta than anything we've seen to this point in his career, right? The benefits for Kirk going to Atlanta does have a better offensive line than the Minnesota Vikings, markedly better. They were actually very, very good last year. talent-wise, I would say Bijan's definitely an upgrade over Alexander Madison or whoever is going to be the upcoming running back.
Hands down, so much better.
You go back, though, to 2022 where they had Dalvin Cook. Bijan and Dalvin Cook probably close to a wash in terms of talent.
They're comparable, but I think I honestly, I mean, I know with recency bias, and all that, but I think Bijan is a better
pure
overall
athlete
prospect. Yeah.
I can see
just
that.
a better pure athlete than Cook was.
That's fair, but then you go back to Justin Jefferson is Drake London, TJ Hawkinson is Kyle Pitts. There's not really much of a difference in terms of an upgraded skill set of the players. We'll see what they do at 8 now. That gets very interesting. If they can get Odunze or Neighbors as the
I don't really think they'll go offense in the first round because of how stacked this draft is on wide receivers.
It's going to be interesting because the one thing people have to take into account, you're paying Kirk Cousins a decent like $45 million a year now, right?
Yeah.
Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan, when their contracts finally come due, if they live up to what their draft capital was, like if Kyle Pitts can turn it around now, which we'll talk about him here in just a minute, that's around $15 million a year. Drake London will be 25 million at that point for these wide receivers. Like Bijan, if he gets a good second contract, which is rare for these running backs, but like let's say 12, 14 million there, like it just adds up quick when you're already paying the quarterback. So I could see the argument for not taking a first round wide receiver just because if he hits, you're gonna have to pay him big money here in a couple of years. But it's going to be interesting for sure to see what happens there, because if they do go one of these young wide receivers, man, you put Drake London with let's say, for example, Malik Neighbors falls to 8. Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and that offensive line. Oh my goodness, the fantasy value is going to absolutely reign for this team. So Kirk Cousins, talking about him really quickly, just finishing up on him. Currently, he's the quarterback number 26 in Dynasty, and I think that this is kind of a shame because, he never should have gotten this low, and I get it. He's a little bit older, had the Achilles tear and everything. Dale was giving me crap because just last week I traded the 107 for Kirk Cousins and Trey Lance in a Superflex league, and he said that it wasn't worth it to get both of those guys when I
think it was, I just felt it was a little high. It was a little high.
What are you going to give up for Kirk now, man? He's going to at least finish this year. He finished as the quarterback 24 last year with 8 games. 8. The dude was going to be a top 10 quarterback probably yet again. You look at his entire tenure, he's only had one season where he wasn't a top 12 quarterback in Superflex. Like, he's just a good player. So I do think he's going to be right around there, depending on if he gets the Achilles fully healthy. Obviously health kind of plays into this pretty heavily, but assuming full health for Kirk Cousins, he's going to be right around 10 to 12 in terms of quarterback ranking. And I think that that's a massive steal. Hopefully you can get him a little bit cheap right now, but definitely wait a couple of weeks if you're going to send an offer for Kirk Cousins now, because the hype is out of this world. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, like people are thinking that, like this is going to, I mean, it's definitely going to increase the value of these skill players. It definitely will. It's going to. And, unfortunately, like a lot of people are saying that like the buying window for Pitts and for Drake London are it's over.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
It plain is. I think the hype is a little much. I'm concerned about this year. I know that we've been seeing a lot of advancements medically with Achilles tears and stuff like that, but I think I think he will get back on the field, but I don't know how good it's going to be first year personally, but that's just me. I'm a little biased on that.
Yeah,
but I do think he's going to be, near a top 12 quarterback this year, just based on previous history.
Yeah, that's where, man, the buy window, like you're saying, I see a lot of people out there saying, oh, you got to go and get these guys now. Guys, it's too late. You should have got these guys before, because this was always an opportunity for this to happen, right? And, you know, it's it's pretty wild. And I'm just looking here today, basically, at the change in any of these players' values. So, you know, Drake London, for example, he got as low as wide receiver 17. Currently, the wide receiver 14 in terms of value. It still feels a little low with what Kirk Cousins can do from a volume standpoint. How do you feel about Drake London's volume right there, and pick range? Like, how high do you think he's going to go in terms of the top players?
Well, I am here on Keep Trade Cut, and it says he is wide receiver 14, but he's in a massive wide receiver tier.
Yes.
So we'll play a little bit of Would You Rather, if you don't mind.
All right.
So
hit me.
So would you rather have Drake London or Michael Pittman? Start there. I'll give you a softball.
Dude, that's actually not a softball. I actually really like.
I know it's not.
Michael Pittman.
I know.
But with Kirk Cousins, I gotta say Drake London, man. Like, I've gotta say Drake London.
Would you rather have Drake London or DJ Moore?
Caleb Williams with DJ Moore. Give me Drake London.
Okay. Would you rather have Drake London or Nico Collins?
Oh, Drake London by far.
Drake London. Okay.
Yep.
Drake London or Brandon Ayuk?
London.
Okay. Drake London or Waddle?
London still.
Okay.
I'm looking at this. I just pulled up Keep Trade Cut. So, you know, here's where it gets spicy. Would you rather have Drake London or AJ Brown?
I'd have AJ Brown.
You'd rather have AJ? Even with Saquon on the team now?
Yeah.
Would you? I would rather have London.
I like better players on my. I don't.
Drake London's a good player. What do you mean? What do you mean?
I think he was a little overhyped personally.
No,
you know,
he's a good player.
I think he was.
He's a good player. I think what we've seen from.
I'm waiting to see it. So.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say, as someone who has many shares of Drake London, we saw a lot of potential from him last year. Again, we talked about it a little bit. Desmond Ridder, we talked about it with Arthur Smith in the Russell Wilson video that came out yesterday. So, you know, you can see some of our thoughts with Arthur Smith. His personnel usage was not great a lot of the time. You look at the metrics that Drake London had this last year, and the fact that, you know, as the number one on this team, he had a game where he had 6 targets, 1 target, 7 targets. It's like when you're, and this was an Arthur Smith problem. It was not a Drake London problem. But when you're out targeting Mac Hollins for no reason, it's a problem, right? And, you know, you got the game where he had the 11 targets, 10 catches for 172 yards. We see what his potential can be. And again, he only had 2 touchdowns this last year. That's not going to happen again with Kirk Cousins. Again, I believe in Drake London. He's a big body dude. He's going to be very, very good for this team. And wide receiver 14, I think is a little low. Again, I can see the argument, but AJ Brown is what? He's RB or wide receiver 8. You know, that's where I'm right in that range for him. Like, it's a coin flip for me for AJ Brown. I say I would take Drake London over Brown, but that's just because of the trajectory of the Eagles right now, more so than AJ Brown. AJ Brown's still a good player, but I don't really trust this team and what they're kind of building around him. So, you know, he's right in that range of, that's where his ceiling kind of is to me. It's entirely possible Drake London finishes as the wide receiver 1 this year with Kirk Cousins. It's entirely possible. Justin Jefferson did it. I mean, why can't Drake London? So talent-wise, I think Justin Jefferson's better, don't get me wrong, but I do think that Drake London is a little bit more of a big play threat than Justin Jefferson is. So I'm just saying that we can see that. It'd be an amazing outcome if that were to happen. I'm not expecting that to happen, but I'm just saying that, you know, 14 is, if he stays healthy, man, that's like his floor. That is his floor.
Well, I think the problem though is that we have so many young, talented wide receivers.
That is true.
And we've seen I know we've seen little glimpses of what Drake London can do, and like I'm not super impressed personally, but it is what it is. I'm not obviously I don't have a lot of Drake London shares. I actually have zero. So
So just being a hater
so
to be a hater. I see.
hey, I know.
See.
Well, that I mean, it's coming from somebody who has a lot of Kirk Cousins,
There you
stock.
go.
So,
There you go.
I do think it definitely helps London, but I really think, I mean, they almost have to get another wide receiver. Like they can't go in the year with Matt Collins being their number two, or even Scotty Miller being their
Right.
number two.
Right. We'll see
Like
if they sign
that
anybody here this next couple of days, but
can't happen, and I doubt they will because how stacked this class is.
I know. I know.
So I'm not worried about that. If they get like a Odunze or even a if Neighbors slips or
I could
something,
see them getting a Roman Wilson in round 2. Oh baby, let's go. Let's go.
So, I'm
All
sure
right,
you would overhype those wide receivers if that happened, but that's beside the point.
Let's jump over to Kyle Pitts here. And again, another player who's currently the tight end number 7. There was a point in time years ago where he was considered the wide receiver or the tight end 1. Just looking back 1 year ago, he was the tight end number 1 in fantasy football on Keep Trade Cut. Has regressed all the way down to tight end 7. The news came out, Kyle Pitts was injured last year, kind of finally starting to feel healthy, finally at the end of the year. But why I'm so excited about Kyle Pitts, man, the dude was a unicorn in terms of athleticism. The dude is just a freak of nature. Only 23 years old. Crazy young. 6'6", 246 pounds. He's probably bulked up a little bit since then, but the dude hasn't even hit like physical prime yet. Like he legitimately isn't even in his physical peak yet as a human being. And his rookie year, everybody remembers 110 targets for 68 catches and 1,000 yards. Only 1 touchdown, finished as the tight end number 6 that rookie year. And this is what has proven that Kyle Pitts has the talent to do it. Then in 2022, only plays 10 games, gets injured. Not a great statistical season. They had moved on from Matt Ryan at that point in time. They were trying to hobble it together with Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder. This last year plays all 17, 90 targets, 53 catches for 600 yards, 3 touchdowns. So an improvement there, but didn't really look like himself completely. But says he's finally healthy. And if he is finally healthy, man, he is going to explode because you look at TJ Hawkinson, right? TJ Hawkinson, 127 targets last year in 2023, 95 catches, finished as a tight end number 4, 5 touchdowns. And that's in 15 games. That wasn't even through a whole 17. The year before, 2022, 129 targets, 86 catches, 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts is a much better athlete than TJ Hawkinson. He will be able to get more yardage. He will break 1,000 yards very, very easily. You go back to the old Redskins Commander days, right? Where, what was it?
Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed, man. The guy won me my first ever fantasy football championship because Kirk Cousins went to him every single time in the red zone. Like, we're going to see Kyle Pitts with at least 5 to 8 touchdowns, at least. I could see more. And he's going to have, probably about 130 targets for maybe 100 catches and 1,200 yards. Like, he's going to go nuclear this year. Kyle Pitts, you don't believe in the fact that Drake London can get all the way to wide receiver 1. Kyle Pitts, in my book, can very easily get to tight end number 1 this year. And I am so excited. I am so thrilled.
I definitely agree with that. I think part of the number swap that Pitts and Cousins is going to have is this term that like Kyle Pitts has to get all of the red zone targets.
Right.
So I feel that's going to be built in. And Kirk loves the tight end. He loves the tight end. Like he loves. In his, it was with Minnesota. He really loved TJ Hawkinson. He loved Jordan Reed. I think who was I think he even loved Logan Thomas. If Logan Thomas was around when
it was he went to Irv Smith and then what was it, Conklin? Tyler Conklin for a couple years there, right?
Conk. Yeah, that's true. That is true. So
he always prioritizes the tight end position.
It does not matter, who it is. And I think Pitts has the better chance of being the number one in his position than Drake London does, hands down.
Yeah. So again, if you guys were buying these guys, you should have done it before now. Nobody is going to sell them at all.
Cheap.
I'm going to be so excited to see what Kyle Pitts jumps to on Keep Trade Cut here in the next couple of days. Right now it's basically saying that you could trade him for TJ Hawkinson straight up, Mark Andrews straight up. Like, no thank you. DK Metcalf straight up.
That's not going to happen anymore. Nope.
Like, who would you rather have, Kyle Pitts or Devonta Smith / DK Metcalf?
I would much rather have Kyle Pitts.
Yep, I'm with you 100%, man. So the buying days are officially over. Kyle Pitts or Christian McCaffrey?
I would still take Christian McCaffrey.
Would you? I'd take Pitts.
Well, I feel that, in Dynasty, again, we're a 2 or 3 year window, and McCaffrey was head and shoulders better than any running back this year. And I think that's so much of a advantage, over a onesie position and tight end that I would rather have CMC.
Man, he's already jumping like crazy. Just watching him jump, it's wild. Would you rather have Kyle Pitts or Chris Olave?
Kyle Pitts, because at least he has a good quarterback that throws to him.
Yep, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. So Kirk Cousins going to Atlanta is by far the best news of the day. There's so many other stories that are dropping, though, so we're going to be recapping all of them live on Friday, so make sure you guys tune in for that one. We'll have another one drop tomorrow as well. We're going to do one more where we kind of highlight this team, and because it's a quarterback, or it's a little bit more of a broad change that impacts multiple players. So we'll drop that one tomorrow. It's a secret as to who it's going to be, so we'll hit you guys up with that one. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow to hear that one, and then the full recap of all the free agents on Friday. It's been a great week, man. It's been a great day already, so we'll see what other guys we get, and I'm looking forward to it. Dale, any last thoughts?
Send it on home.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. So much good news. Hit us up in the comments down below. Let us know who you're excited about in free agency, who saved your dynasty team, and we'll celebrate with you. So until next time, thank you guys so much for listening. Good night.
And we all got dreams. We all want things. But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?